Hey, Star Wars fans and Rule the Galaxy fans. It is Joe in the pilot seat. After a 2-week layoff, the Rule the Galaxy crowd is back. We are here, the gang, the boys, we're back together, and we're going to talk a little Star Wars. We're going to talk about anything that pops up, just like in the last show. And hopefully, you all had a great holiday season. 2023 is here. And to kick off 2023, we are starting with episode 186 of the Rule the Galaxy podcast. As always, follow us at Rule the Galaxy SW on Twitter and Instagram. Follow DDoc on TikTok at Rule the Galaxy podcast. Email us at ruletheGalaxySW@gmail.com. Just check us out on YouTube or Facebook at Rule the Galaxy. Boys, did I miss anything before we start? That's got them all. Etsy. There we go.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Go to Etsy.com. Buy some merch. Just type in Rule the Galaxy. All one word. Rule the Galaxy. No spaces on Etsy.com. You'll track us down for shirts, hats, sweatshirts, and other gear. But again, it's episode 186. We've all taken some time away. The Bad Batch Season 2 started. There's things going on in the Star Wars universe. But enough of me. Let's start with our fabulous co-host, Mr. Alfie. How are you, sir?
Man, I'm doing great. Happy to be back. Can't wait to get into it. Got some new Star Wars to talk about, and I'm excited to hear your guys' takes. I really hope that there's some hot takes after, the layoff. I want to hear some hot takes.
Hot takes it is. We'll set them up. Hot takes and sausage, just like a McDonald's. Brent Dykman.
Brent just got it.
Hot takes and sausage, huh? Wow, you're old. All right, hey, how we doing? Yeah, it's been a while since I've been on. So looking forward to having a conversation about the wars. All things that entitled the Bad Batch and everything else that is in the works or possibly in the works. Yeah, so just hanging tough.
Oh, now we're even bringing back 90s boy bands right here.
You caught the reference. Nice work.
Nice
work.
Wouldn't that be more 80s?
No,
Was
I think
it 80s?
It might have been.
Yeah, I think that's
Somebody
more
looked
80s.
that up.
Late
What's
80s.
that? It's been a while.
No,
he went with
Oh.
New Kids on the Block. That's before your time there.
All right, sorry.
It's been a while. It's been a while is a 90s reference.
I was gonna say that's Nickelback, right? We got an early
wait
Nickelback.
a minute. We've got Backstreet Boys and Nickelback going on.
Those New Kids on the Block.
New Kids on the Block.
My taste in music is quite eclectic, if I must say so.
Yeah, one time we're going to do a show, and it's going to be just Brent singing all the songs to the Australian Football League's teams that they do after they win a game. And
I only got 2 or 3 of them. I can only got 2 or 3 of them.
Okay.
We're the Eagles. We're the Eagles. We're here to show you why.
Wow.
We're the best team.
Do we all have to be here for that show?
Well, speaking of the Eagles and songs,
yeah, there we go.
We have DDoc with us. DDoc, give us a little "Fly Eagles Fly." Come on.
Oh, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to curse the team if I sing the Fly Eagles Fly chant. I'm not ready for that. I can't do that on the fly.
Okay.
The stash, though, it's leading the team.
Listen, there's too much bad stuff happening with the Eagles right now. I just need to get past this last week of the season. We started off here, and now we're just trying to get past the finish line right now. So we're trying.
I'm gonna jump in. I know you're gonna introduce and do your little intro, but Willie Harms must be one of the vocal Colts fans on Twitter, and I feel bad for that dude every week with how trashy they have been. So when you say there's bad things going on with the Eagles, at least they're fighting for
number one
play. Yeah, at least they're fighting for the good fight. They're not fighting for their jobs.
I think that's just a Philly thing. Is like, even though we're like playing for the number 1 seed, you'd think we have a losing record around here right now. The sky is falling, so that's just how it is. But yeah, I'm happy to be back on here. I had a good Christmas break. I watched a ton of movies and shows over this Christmas break. I don't know what it is. It's like, usually I'm like a late night gamer, and for some reason during this run, I'm like, I'm knocking out shows and movies. I finally saw Top Gun. I watched the Banshees of Inisherin because a lot of people were saying to watch that Irish movie. Interesting movie, Colin Farrell. All Quiet on the Western Front, which I've been pumping on
Mm-hmm.
Twitter, which I think is
You
an
and
incredible.
T-Bob. Yeah.
Yeah. I watched that because of T-Bob, and the suggestion from T-Bob was to watch it in German with the subtitles, which I did. Long movie, good movie, brutal movie. But yeah, it's nice that I kind of like ended this whole run of movies and shows that I've been watching with watching The Bad Batch last night and getting back to the podcast. You know, it's like it's pretty fun, you know. So I'm really excited to be back on Rule the Galaxy.
Good, good. Glad to have you. Glad to have you. I know I felt really good when we actually had some listeners and followers send us message saying, "Where are you? We haven't heard from you in weeks." And I was like, "Wow, somebody out there really cares." It makes me feel good. A little warm and fuzzy. Um, so yeah, I wanted to do a quick rundown if it's okay with you guys because we just finished up 2022, believe it or not. Being born in 1971, I'm not sure I ever thought in my head that I'd make it to 2022 or 23, but here we are. It's like we're in the world of the Jetsons, which by the way, George Jetson in the show was born in August of 2022. So we are in the land of the Jetsons right now. So, um, we just surpassed 34,000 downloads, but in 2022 we got 14,000 of those. So you know, we've grown every year. So thank you to our listeners and followers, everything like that. Our number one, I know by countries. I didn't look up by states, but I wanted to see this by countries. Obviously, the U.S. was number one, followed by the UK, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, India, Chile, the Czech Republic, Germany, the Ukraine, and Italy. Those were the countries that listened to us. So that was the top 11 or 12 right there. So I thought that was pretty cool. And to think that, you know, the homeland for the Molineros, Italy, we actually had 14 downloads. I know that's not a lot, but we're not speaking in Italian, so I don't know who's listening to us there. But if you are listening to us in Italy, drop us a line. You can
Joe,
write
that
in
was
Italian.
that was you downloading when you were over there on your vacation. Come on now.
No, it happened. It was sporadically throughout the year. Yeah, I just watched it. So I did not download one while I was there. I downloaded them before I left, listened to them while I was there. So so going back also real quick, fans put up with me here. This all kind of means stuff to me. Our top 10 list of all time. I pulled that up. Believe it or not, we're at show 186 right now. At number 10 was episode 88. That was Joe, Alfie, and Mass talking about just everything. Number 9 was episode number 89, which was Joe, Alfie, Nick, and DDoc. Number 8 on the top 10 was show 121. We had Mr. Scott Rifen on, and that was from 2022. Show number 7 on the overall list was 96, episode 96. So, fans, if you're listening and you want to know good shows to go back and listen to, I'm guessing these are ones you should listen to. Episode 96 was Joe, Alfie, and Brent. The number 6 overall show in the history of Rule of the Galaxy was the 4th episode ever, and that was Joey and I interviewing T-Bob. Number 5 in the top 10 was show 123, also from 2022. That was with Mark Anthony Austin, and we were discussing the Boba Fett finale. Show number 4 in the overall top 10 was episode 95. That was the Duchess. Jessica was our guest on that show. Number 3 was our 100 extravaganza with cast and crew of thousands. I don't know how many people came on that show that night. But if you follow us on Twitter, go to my pinned tweet on that, because that is DDoc's throwing together of the Avengers with us with the cast and crew from show 100. The last two, number 2 on the list, episode 122. That was Mr. Steve Glosson. That was this year as well in 2022. And last but not least, believe it or not, after all this time and all the listens, show number 1, the initial show that we did, just Joey and me, still is the top show we've ever had. I guess people try that all the way back then before they listen to the other shows. So kind of crazy that we've been listened to in all those different countries, and that that's a wide variety of shows coming from a wide variety of when we've been doing it to do our top 10. But I will tweet out all those show episodes so that people know that was our top 10 to maybe go back and check out.
That Glosson one has to be when he did the David Attenborough impression. And it has to be. If it's not, I'd be upset, because that was probably one of the greatest impressions.
I don't think he gives himself enough credit on that one. I agree with you. He's great at that. And if you're not listening to Geek Out Loud, by the way, he's ramped that back up, and it is wild because he goes on tangents, not too different than we do, but he goes in some wild tangents on all different areas of fandom, and he's just a funny guy. He gets in some little kicks.
He pulls up some crazy news stories too, just for the fun of it. So
yes,
yeah, I started listening because of him being on the show and you talking about it. But yeah,
he's wild. He's wild. So okay, go ahead.
You need to get in the hot tub with him. I just said you need to get in the hot tub with him.
We're putting that together. He and I are going to jump in the hot tub, and yes, you'll get to hear me just ramble with Steve Glosson in the hot tub sometime soon. So
yeah, so for anybody who's out there listening, you got to listen to Geek Out Loud, and he does a hot tub conversation with just random interesting people. So Joe and Steve would be a good hot tub conversation.
Yeah, it was funny when I got the text and he's like, "You want to jump in the hot tub?" And I was like, "What are we talking about here, Steve?" And so we'll do that. We'll put that together. Our schedules have not worked out well to make that happen yet, but I'm happy for him because he took a long hiatus from the show and he had to kind of recharge the batteries, and so he's back out there doing it now. If Scott Ripen would just go back to doing my Star Wars story, I don't know if you guys have listened to those, but he goes in depth for like an hour with somebody telling their actual story of how they grew up with it, what it means to them, all that kind of stuff. And he does some really good interviews. He's had some great people on there. So, but I've gone on enough just about our show and craziness. Let's talk about the holidays and everything else. Did anybody, and I know Alfie's going to lead the way, did anybody get any Star Wars stuff? Did anything Star Wars related happen over the Christmas season, New Year's, anything like that? Who wants to take charge besides Alfie and his inflatables in the front yard getting torn up by the storm at his house?
I saved the inflatables.
Okay.
I took those down. The AT-AT is fine.
The AT-AT is fine. That's good to hear. DDoc, how about you? What did you get? What did you do?
I actually had some items sitting here next to me that I did get. I have 3 Star Wars items. Number 1, we got Mando helmet series, which I saw Joey is building right now, actually, on Instagram.
Yep.
And I DM'd him and said, you need to tell your dad how much fun you had building that so he can get into buying them. And I got my set that I've wanted for a long time now, the AT-AT Walker, which I'm extremely excited about. I've wanted this thing for a long time. Lego had their old ones in production from Attack of the Clones, and those things cost about $900 to $1,000 if you want one. So they finally made a new model, and it's a reasonable price. So it's like $100, $120. So, and then my brother got me this little Darth Vader Bluetooth, speaker where you can put his helmet on, which is cool. It's just like a little fun, small Star Wars item. And I got some T-shirts and stuff. So it was a good Star Wars Christmas. People like buying gifts for me because I'm a 31-year-old guy who still likes to get stuff like this, and people still like to buy that stuff for me. So
we're easy.
I always appreciate it.
That's awesome. Alfie, how about you?
Yeah, I think I might have a few things sitting here. Well, this one I actually got for myself, and that is try to get out of the glare here, the number 6 Boba Fett Black Series figure.
What year was that made, Alfie? I know it was one of the earlier. I mean, being
2013,
when Black Series was really just
wow,
brand new. Wow.
Is that safe right now, by the way, Alfie? Or like, do you
Yes.
have doors locked right now? All right.
I love how you ask and he looks around. Like
Yeah.
for those that are listening,
Put that
Alfie
back.
did it. Alfie put his head on his swivel just to make sure she wasn't anywhere around.
Yeah. And then kind of a fun little gift here. I got this Boba Fett jetpack.
Oh, that's cool.
Nice.
Yeah. So
And now, is that
surprised
for a costume or is it a backpack? Is it a cooler?
It's-
What is it?
no, it's just for costume.
Okay.
I'm surprised she hasn't popped that out and started wearing it around the house.
It's been put away until just now.
Oh, okay.
So,
Okay.
One cool thing that Santa brought for my kiddos, they make this like Disney store thing where it's like just a display and you set it up like it's the Disney store with shelves and stuff on it, and then they have mystery boxes where it's miniature versions of like products that they sell. So there was a bunch of Star Wars stuff where it's like a miniature version. What's that? What's the name of that series that Disney Store sells for Star Wars again? It's like Toy Box or something like that.
Toy box.
Toy box.
Yeah. There's some Toy Box Star Wars figures, and it looks like just a shrunken Honey I Shrunk the Kids version of our like Black Series and stuff like that. They got like some Stormtroopers and stuff like that. So they have like a Star Wars section in the store, Marvel. So I don't know. That was kind of a cool little thing for the collector and me to see the miniatures of those.
Nice.
Yeah.
Brent, any Star Wars Legion pop up over the holidays?
No, everyone thinks I'm crazy for playing it. I mean, I'm also I don't get gifts much anymore. I get cash. So some of the stuff that is to be released, I still haven't picked up the new Boba Fett that they just released, which is a pretty cool sculpt of old man Boba on the rock with his gaffy stick.
Hey, if I get one of those, would you paint it for me?
Yeah. No problem. They're sold out right now at my game preserve because everybody bought them. So he's got to wait on the next shipment, but which is a good thing. Like I like to see product move. So, but no, there's a box that's coming out that was delayed for about 6 months that I'm trying to get. So I think it's supposed to come Friday, the 7th or 6th. So
good.
Yeah.
Well, I get it.
It's got the chicken walker and some indoor speeder bikes and some snow troopers. It's called Blizzard Force. So
nice.
think of the Blizzard Force that was taking on Echo Base for the Empire.
Echo Base. I think we'll get back to Echo Base here a little bit later in the show. I really, this was not a big Star Wars Christmas for me or Joey or anything like that at all. It was, Frankie's, my grandson, his first Christmas, and with him only being 4 months old, really not the biggest deal to get him toys or anything like that. But Alfie's forewarned me and reminded me that next Christmas
is the real first Christmas.
Yeah, it's going to be fun and intense. Excited, planning already for that. So
I don't know. I feel like the next Christmas would be more like, because 18 months? I don't know if you'll quite. They're still into the paper at 18, 19 months. That's like.
Maybe I'll just buy Star Wars.
I feel like it's like 2, 3, and I take that because when my daughter when she went to Disney World, she went when she was 18 months, Disney, and it wasn't as big of a deal as when she went when she was 3. When she was 3 is when she gave double birds to Jiminy Cricket. Long story, but she was in there pointing at him, and it happened to be her middle fingers that she was pointing at it. But so 3 was a lot different experience than the 18-month trip. So I feel like 2, 3 would be a better Christmas for him.
This was a really fun Christmas with Azalea. She's 3, so.
And
I would agree.
Your kids are like what? Your boy and girl?
I have a 5-year-old boy, 4-year-old girl, and then now 8-month-old.
Oh, this must have been a great. They
were
all
one.
About it.
Yes, it was definitely a good one. It was the funniest thing. Christmas Eve, they're putting reindeer feed on the front yard, and then David sees a bright light going across the sky, sprints inside, and says, Santa's in the sky. We need to go to bed right now. Harper, get inside. They were just like, and he booked it up the stairs. It was like something out of a movie. It was so funny. That was like one of those things where it's like, that was me when I was a kid. I was just so excited for Christmas. So it's always a sad time when Christmas ends, but it really is just, especially with kids, it's just so much fun. Joe's giving me a reminder right now of David's second Christmas. He had all these gifts, and the first gift he opened was a miniature Dyson vacuum, like a kid's Dyson vacuum. He did not want to open anything else. He just wanted that vacuum. He wanted to run around the house and pretend he was vacuuming the house. He loved it. So it's such a fun wrinkle to have kids around on Christmas. It really is.
It definitely is. Definitely is. And with my youngest one being 20, Christmas Justin, her thing was we got her a Nespresso machine, and I tell you what though, she's made me some incredible lattes since then. So I've been really excited about it. But yeah, this was my I think this was kind of like a Ted Lasso kind of Christmas for me. I had some Ted Lasso gear and some remaining Italy kind of stuff left over from the trip and thoughts like that. So I'm looking forward to seeing some Star Wars stuff in the future with Christmas, as long as they keep making Star Wars stuff. You never know. They might just not make what I want from now on. I don't know. Maybe they'll make boxes that are just completely closed off with no plastic on the front of them and you can't see the product. I don't know. Before
they wouldn't do that, would they?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay.
I saw Net B in the store in that box. It's the first Star Wars one that I saw. And I'm just like, man, how great would that look if they had that freaking figure displayed?
I thought about that today. I was looking through Black Series on Amazon, and I came across that Luke that's coming out from The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
And I swiped through the pic. I was so excited for it, and then I swiped to that last picture in the box, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, that looks like crap."
The fact that they have that Luke in that box is
that box art is beautiful.
It is unbelievable.
The box art is beautiful. It's all about the box art.
I could do a better Photoshop. I could do a better Photoshop in 5 minutes, probably. If I took a high quality photo of a figure, I could do something better. At least put it in a scene or something like that, for God's sakes. Oh my God. I hope it ends. I really do. I just watched an unboxing of the new Indiana Jones stuff. And I'm just like watching it, and I'm just like, this is it's a cool figure. It's a cool Indiana Jones figure, but I'm just like,
Joe, you got this started, so don't even act like you didn't. You knew
right. I'm done. My rant's done.
You knew the Band-Aid you were ripping off when you said it.
I know. I just had to. I just wanted to inject a little bit of that in the show, just a little bit.
It's honestly why I just haven't bought Black Series for a while. It really is. I'm like, I just have not bought a Black Series figure for probably months now. So, whatever. I'm done on my rant.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, Alfie, I believe that.
I would love to see Alfie's
a long
card
time.
bill.
What, like 3 weeks?
2
weeks?
Christmas. I bought that one like a few days before Christmas.
But it still had the plastic on the front.
Still had the plastic. Yeah. And I'm going to really dial it back. I'm going to stick to Boba Fett and Luke, Mando. Let's just say Mandalorians.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well.
Okay. Yeah.
There's not going to be a lot of those released after Mandalorian season 3.
I can't say I'm not going to buy any when, they're going to hopefully release like a dozen different Mandalorians. And that's kind of a funny thing now, because we've always just said Mandalorians, but now Mandalorian is a singular character. But I think you know what I mean.
Yes. To hop off the toys and to throw something in before we start talking Bad Batch, was reading about in Ahsoka, the new series coming out in 2023. There's going to be some new Stormtrooper looks. So again, taking same molds but adding some touches to them. And Alfie, what is the word I'm looking for again? The word you sent us? I'm
going to have to look it up real quick. Give me just a second.
It all has to do with the Japanese art, like Kylo Ren.
Reforging, yes.
Reforging, yes. And
that's
Kintsugi.
Kintsugi, yes. And I did read that the lines on these Stormtroopers are going to be yellow.
Yes.
Gonna be gold and yellow. So yeah. So interesting. So we've already got something to look forward to, new and different in the Ahsoka series with this new look of the Stormtroopers. And am I reading correctly that they're saying they might be Thrawn related? Like,
all right, are we going to talk about this, or do I have to dance around it all?
to talk, man. We're not spoiling anything. We don't know a daggone thing. We're just guessing.
It's going to be Heir to the Empire. Ahsoka, Skeleton's Crew, Mando season 4. That's where we're going.
Which
That's
I'm
my
fine
guess.
with that.
And you're going to replace the clones with reforged Stormtroopers.
And are we going to have a crazy psycho cloned old Jedi?
Oh, going to have a crazy, I would say, dark Jedi. He's not necessarily a clone, but you guys played Fallen Order, right?
Yes.
Okay, so the Jedi that hit out on Dathomir.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's the Jedi that's going to be in Ahsoka. Not by name, but that same kind of story.
Interesting.
So from what I'm reading, Horus Sabaoth is going to basically be a Jedi from Order 66 that fled to the outer regions, the unknown regions, where he came across the original Night Sisters, wherever they come from.
Dude, live action Night Sisters will be incredible. I don't doubt that they'll knock that out when they do that, because that is going to be some awesome looking effects and stuff as far as, all the spiritual stuff they do. I'm really excited for that.
Yeah. And Thrawn's there. Allegedly, he's working with this fallen Jedi in his apprentice.
Okay. I'm good on all those things.
So is it Heir to the Empire? Not necessarily, but if you count all the plot points, it's pretty much a rewriting.
Brent, you're usually one who has some interesting takes on old expanded universe stuff like this. You in on that? You think that's a good idea or a bad idea?
I mean, I think they've been going like Filoni and Favreau have been going that way by piecing things together into The Mandalorian. They've been throwing little hints and kind of doing things to satisfy those expanded universe fans. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but I know that we've talked about different, like the Easter eggs, but then also the connections that they've written in to Mandalorian and all of the stuff that they've done. So it doesn't surprise me that they're trying to pull that in. I mean, they like the Bad Batch. At the end of the Bad Batch, they pulled in Mount Tantif. So like, I mean, there's precedent for it. I have no problem with it.
Okay.
It's yeah. I mean, that's other than we'll see where it goes and see how it comes out. I haven't read into it. I watch everything and evaluate it as I watch it. So
and all of this could be just smoke and mirrors. It could be some guy in 4chan or something, but I don't know. The guy that has been right about everything. So could he be wrong about this? Sure. Could he be right? Sure.
Right. And it's right. It could be just complete speculation, but it's also like that is what a lot of the older fan base wants to see. Right. Like that's a lot of what the original trilogy fans, the Mandalorian fans, I think the ones that were around and the only thing that they had during the dark times, the dark ages, the only thing they had was Heir to the Empire. Those fans are looking for that to happen. And you can see that in the way that they talk about The Mandalorian. You can see that in the way that they talk about Andor. You can see that in the way that any conversation is framed. The fans of Heir to the Empire, the fans of the expanded universe are waiting for that to show up somewhere in live action or in anything. They're looking for nuggets of that expanded universe to solidify that those things were actually real, I guess.
DDoc, I forget. Have you jumped into and done the Thrawn original trilogy?
I haven't. I have not finished Thrawn, and I still haven't done Heir to the Empire. So I still got to do those. That'll be on my 23 list. I'll get those done because I have a lot of credits on Audible right now. I haven't done audiobooks for like a couple months actually.
The one point you're missing, Brent, too, is it's easy.
Right, it's there. Right,
It's
there.
really hard. I don't want to get on the big rant, but if you look at the sequel trilogy and you say,
No,
this
I agree.
multi-billion-dollar company put the best of the best in a room, and they couldn't keep it together for 3 movies. So if you take a story that's already been created and say, how about we just pull this out and this out? And okay, here's our base plot. Let's make something new.
Mm-hmm.
But we've already created our characters. We can change them however we want, but we know kind of their story. It's a lot easier.
I would love to see a Sabayoth, though. I want to see that dude. For some reason, that dude has resonated with me from listening to the Heir of the Empire. I've listened to it a couple times, and for whatever reason, I want to see that character. I guess if I can see nuggets of his personality and his characterization and something else, but I just want to see like that kind of twisted Jedi. Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, I want to see it as well. I tell you what, I forgot to start off with this. Well, not start off with this, but bring this up before we get into that Stormtroopers and Ahsoka thing there. We did a recap on the show for 2022. What about, let's do a quick recap of what we saw in 2022. Kenobi, we saw in 2022. Where are we? We're all pretty much thumbs up on it, right? There was good and bad in it, but give it A through F. Where will you go with it? I would say I'm a B plus on Kenobi, and me and Kenobi. I love Kenobi as much as I love Luke. So B plus. I loved so much about it, but there were some things a little hinky about it. Alfie, how about you on Kenobi?
C minus.
Okay.
I thought it was outside of the nostalgia of Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor. I thought it was very weak. It was a terrible story, and the visuals were, oh god, like,
and we're Andor
level
visuals. Yeah,
they were like Sci-Fi Channel level visuals. And the story for me, and I hate to have to judge a product on its past, but you have to. If you say it took you 10 years to make this, and this is the best of the best you could get, I'm sorry, that's a low grade. You can't have Vader versus Obi-Wan save that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm like kind of similar to Alfie. I'm like B minus C plus area. Like, I don't know. The visuals, I just remember when we were doing episode by episode on it, I could not stop commenting on the visuals. I know people were probably sick of that, but like the CGI bothered me. It just didn't look great. Story wise, it was kind of like what Alfie just said. You had the opportunity to capture that nostalgia with those two guys. The nostalgia is right there. You got 3 movies. You can sit there and watch all 3 and be like, all right, I see what their relationship's like. I think we can find ways to, play with Vader and Kenobi at these stages of their lives. But it left me wishing that they did more with it. Although there were some points that hit really well in it. When it hit right, it did hit right, but overall that left a small, like kind of a bad taste in my mouth, I'll say.
Brent?
I'm right there in that C range. The only thing that I'll say that's different is they introduced us to a couple of characters that I really enjoyed. And then with Star Wars, they don't like to kill off characters. They decided to kill off the characters that I really dug in this episode, in this series, right? So Ned and Tala, I really wanted to see Tala and see more of her story. I really kind of loved the Ned character, but they are no more. They were only in there for 3 episodes or so. So I'm in the C, like for much the same reason that everybody else is throwing it out.
Let's throw out Book of Boba Fett. I guess I will start on that. Book of Boba Fett obviously had some very cool moments to it. I'm probably the C guy in Book of Boba Fett. I would have liked to have seen the story go in a different direction. but there was enough cool stuff in it to where I was interested, wanted to see what happened. And then the Mandalorian side and the Luke side and the Ahsoka side all brought that together. But there was a lot of, I think, like you just said about Kenobi, for me, there were a lot of misses on the Book of Boba Fett. Let's go with Brent since we finished with you last time.
Yeah, so I would put that just a notch above the Obi-Wan series. I just don't have the nostalgia for the Obi-Wan and the whole Hayden Ewan McGregor and all of that stuff. It's that nostalgia is lost on me. I've talked about it. Go back and listen to episodes prior. It's just what it is. Boba Fett was good. I love the Rancor battle. I love the introduction of Cad Bane. I enjoyed. I really think that DDoc, I might be stealing your thunder on this one. You and I both had high hopes for the Fennec Shan character, and she kind of fell flat with the way that they developed her. She just was kind of there as like a yes man, and it wasn't really what we wanted to see from her. I'm trying to think of anything else. I'll let other people talk, but yeah. So I was a C. So what is the B minus? I'm a step above.
Okay.
Step above Obi-Wan.
DDoc.
Yeah, I'd probably be around B minus as well. Like, it's funny. It's like as we're talking about it here right now, I'm just thinking like it's called Book of Boba Fett, and there were chapters of it that I like and chapters I didn't like. I did not like the speeder bikes. I thought that chase was terrible. It was way too slow. I remember watching it and be like, "What am I watching right now?" You know, if it was a little faster, maybe I would have liked the speeder bikes a little bit more. But yeah, I wish Fennec Shan played a I mean, she still was awesome in it, you know. She was still cool. But like I love the Tusken Raider stuff in the beginning of it. It was intriguing, it was interesting. We got to see him crawl out of the pit in it. Like, you know, there was some cool stuff in it, but as Tamar Morrison said, it's time for Boba Fett to get back to being a badass. So I think he knows, you know, that was a good show, but we need that, you know, gunslinging Boba, which we got in it a little bit, but you know, it left a little more to desire. So we'll go around B minus for me.
Alfie.
Not to be biased, but I will give this show a B plus. I agree with everything that everyone is saying. I really did not care for the mods. I thought some of a lot of the crime lord stuff just didn't hit right. Fennec Shan, yes, was a little flat and underdeveloped. But where it gets redeemed is that it is very rewatchable and it is enjoyable and fun. And if you watch it in order with the Mandalorian series, it fits in very nicely, like, you know, just some chapters in a book. So it's always going to have that rewatch factor because when you binge, could you imagine like watching season 3 of The Mandalorian and not having watched the Book of Boba Fett? And like the first episode of The Mandalorian, Grogu's there. So
True.
It's always going to have that spot where you have to rewatch it.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
As far as like Kenobi, that's one of my gripes about it is not very rewatchable. And there's nothing that you really need to watch it for to fit into the story of Star Wars. But I think some of the visuals were a little off and I'd like to see, you know, the badass Boba come back. But, you know, we did get to see Cobb Vanth, and will we see him again? Is he going to be like RoboCop or something? I don't know. And Cad Bane was nice. Overall, it was a fun series, but it could have been a lot better.
Okay.
So B plus.
We'll go to Andor next, and I'll start it off, and I'm gonna say I'm probably a B on Andor. I think Andor for me had yes, it was slow. Yes, it was drawn out, but I liked a lot of different storylines that were coming together in it. I'm really interested in the Mon Mothma behind the scenes, the political scheming
Ooh,
going
does she
on
get
there.
her bank account?
Yes, I
Can't
know.
wait to find out.
3 episodes about banking. It's like we're back in the prequels now. You know, but are we gonna see what was the guy's name who couldn't swim? Dang on it. Come on.
Oh man.
Anyway,
who couldn't swim?
We'll call him Smeagol for now.
So Smeagol couldn't swim, but
Yeah.
I mean, you know what? What if he showed back up? Anyway, I thought there was enough of it that it was a good preamble to what we're going to see in episode 2, that there was enough going on in it. I thought the scenery was great. I thought the action, when it had action, was pretty good. I like the dirty griminess of it and things like that. So, and I like the different music. I liked all the different musical things they put in there that were different. So, I'm going to give it a B on Andor. Alfie.
Honest.
Honestly, yeah, I would give it like a D.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
was
knew
going
he was going
C.
lower. I knew he was going lower than that. That's why I said honest.
You know, there's a part of me that wants to give it an A because, like I've said time and time again, it is so good in almost every facet of how to make good television, except it's not enjoyable in the least sense at all. There's no climax. There's, even when something does happen, you didn't even really need to see it because nothing really happened.
There was almost
And
a
I
climax with Slapface and Team Drake.
Stop.
almost, yes,
Stop.
almost. The poor guy.
Stop.
Go ahead.
You know,
Sorry.
he
Kino
was
Loy.
creepy.
Kino Loy. Kino
Yeah.
Loy.
He was probably he was creepy
Oh,
enough.
that
He
guy who
probably
couldn't
did have a
swim.
climax. But
Jesus.
and I know, you know, you read
Maybe
all
he's
the
into
comments. Oh God, don't start again.
No, please.
You
Go
know,
ahead.
all the comments that, oh, if you wanted TIE fighters and X-wings and pew 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 and all this stuff, but at some point it has to be a little bit Star Wars.
You need it.
And
Yeah.
this, I'm sorry, for me personally, it's art, and two people can look at something and one person can be totally enthralled with it and the other person just walked the other way. This show did nothing for me, and if we didn't do a podcast, I would not have watched past the second episode.
Okay. DDoc.
Yeah. Man, it's tough for me to rate this show. I'll say like B plus. There's a lot of stuff that I liked about it. For some reason, I enjoyed this show a lot more when I was watching it. And then as the dust settled and as time's gone on and I've thought about it more, I'm like, it was good, but like, I don't know if it's me reading people on Twitter saying it's one of the best Star Wars things of all time with
Which it's
everything in movies and all this stuff. Like, I don't know. It's totally not, in my opinion. It was good. What's weird about Andor is I know multiple, like Adam Bray said on this podcast that he stopped watching it. I was surprised when I was listening to that episode and he said that. I know a decent amount of people who have a similar opinion to Alfie on this show. And like Alfie was saying, like, there's this like thing where it's like, I want action, whatever. And it's like, some, one edge of Star Wars fans might think that's a bad thing. It's like, you can have art and cinematics and action at the same time. I mean, like those things can all go together. It doesn't have to just be a cheesy action movie or whatever. Like you can have all those things wrapped into one. So I do think it could have used a little more action. It didn't need to be that, we're going to have 2 episodes of nothing happening. And then the third one will be a bang. And then we'll repeat this, 4 more times or whatever it was. So I'm excited to see where they go with it, with some of these characters in it. I think they're pretty cool. But yeah, I'll go B plus.
Okay. Finish this up, Brent.
So I'll go ahead and stay at the A that I was at. I enjoyed it. I enjoy the timeline. That is the time period that I do enjoy the most, is that early Empire. I enjoyed the fact that we got to see the ISB. We got to see the Empire and how bureaucratic they were, as well as how ruthless and how much they don't care about others. Those aspects of it, I like. I can completely understand the lack of action piece, and I think the articles that come out that I am okay with my Star Wars not having a Force user in absolutely everything. It's still Star Wars because it's set in the time frame and it's set and uses the same characters. Does every story need to have a Jedi? No. Does every story need to have the Force? No. In my mind, Do we need to have that in Star Wars? Absolutely, because that is what makes Star Wars Star Wars. I'm not going to say that you don't need that to be Star Wars, but I think that there are stories to be told that don't include those aspects. Now, they could have made this a 6 episode season, and it probably would have worked a lot better than making it a 12 episode season, because I think everything that we talk about, if you would just condense half of those stories, it would have moved a lot faster, and I think we would have accomplished the same goals. Um, so that's kind of where that condemnation comes from, is because it was slow and drawn out. We could have shortened it down to probably 6 to 8 episodes as far as the 12. But I still think it's an A. The intrigue and everything else, it was good television, like you said. And anytime that I can hear a TIE fighter do a ground buzz, that's pretty cool. Yeah, so I mean, I'm in that world. I get where everybody's coming from. I'm okay with my Star Wars not having a story with a Force user or the Force as a part of it. I would really be pissed off if Luthen is some sort of Jedi, because it doesn't need that.
I
Not all
agree with you.
stories need that.
I agree. I'm all about the Force. I love the Jedi and all that, but I agree with you. I think he doesn't need to be that. Just my 2 cents worth throwing in there. Yeah, I think it'd be a much cooler story if he's not, and just had this, drive inside of him to do this. Tales of the Jedi is the last, correct? Is that the last of 2022? Was there anything else that I'm missing? We didn't get Visions was 2021, right? It's been so long. I don't even remember.
I was gonna say Bad Batch, but that was like 2020, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
it was 2021. It was
Visions was 21, yeah.
yeah. So let's finish up with the Tales of the Jedi. You guys know me. I love the animation stuff. I know there's some people that knock on some of the story of this, especially the Ahsoka side, but for me, it hit on everything. I would say this is one that I want to see more things of for sure in different venues and different time frames. But I like this quick hit these stories, get in, get out. They're meaningful. So I'm an A on Tales of the Jedi. And again, I hope we see some of this, whether it's even further back or even into the future, something like this set up in the animation style. Alfie, how about you?
I'll give it a B. I think it was a pretty good, solid start for a series. I'm gonna have the same kind of point for myself with Bad Batch. I think it's just time to kind of move past this time era a little bit. I get why you started there. It was popular characters. You made some enjoyable shows out of it, but I just want to see something from Jedi from a different time era than just the Clone Wars. I think we've
Okay.
hit this just a little too much.
All right. DDoc?
Yeah, I'd give it an A as honestly, just because entertainment wise, it's like you said about those quick hitters, like it was good visuals, it was good stories. I remember when we were doing the podcast on it, I remember Alfie was saying the Ahsoka one left a little to be desired, which I agree with that one. It was interesting to see her family and everything like that. But yeah, the concept of it, like, the animation, I definitely love the idea of it. And as Alfie said too, like, I'm fine. I would love to see what a Luke Skywalker animated version would look like. Like I would love to see a Tales of the Scoundrels or something like that. Like it does, like you could just change that last name in it for each thing, and you could play with every era of Star Wars if you wanted to. Tales of the High Republic, you could go back to the High Republic with it. So
Tales of the Sith.
Tales of the Sith, yeah, like you could play with whatever you want with this, and I kind of really hope they're thinking that, because it doesn't have to just be Tales of the Jedi, but like you can just use this concept and really run with it. It's kind of like almost like our Marvel What If, you know what I mean? Like we haven't gotten a Star Wars What If, which would be awesome, but this can just give us it can just fill in little gaps in stories that we just haven't seen before, which is what it did pretty well.
Brent, how about you? Tales of the Jedi.
C. Way
Yee.
too. Yeah. There were 6 episodes of about 25 minutes total. So they were too short. It's an era that doesn't really resonate with me. I enjoyed the Dooku, but it wasn't really. I don't know. Yeah, I mean that's all I really got for you. Like it's not like my cup of tea. Now listen to DDoc talk about the fact that you could probably play with this. If they do that and they pull some out, there might be some stories that do resonate with me more. The Tales of the Scoundrels would be cool to see a Han or to see a Lando, to see a Hondo, um to see those types of characters. Tales of the Bounty Hunters, you pull out like an early Boba Fett, pull out a Cad
These
Bane.
these were all books in the EU.
Hey, I have no problem with that, sir. I didn't read the books because it's a book. We know my love of books. Now I've listened to them, but all of that, I know Lando had some of that stuff. I know Han had a few stories.
No,
He had a
there was an
trilogy.
actual book series, Tales of the Bounty Hunters, Tales
Oh.
of Jabba's Palace, Tales of Mos Eisley Cantina. And it was exactly this format, short little stories about just characters.
So
They were great. I'm just saying I would love to see more of it. I
Yeah.
love those books.
I didn't know that information. Like I said, books are not my forte, but I didn't think about
What
it
is this, the
being.
amateur hour?
It absolutely is. It absolutely is, sir. But I didn't think about that until DDoc said it. But this is specific Tales of the Jedi is not something that's in my wheelhouse. It's not something that I care too much about. So that's why I give it a C. Yeah, I watched it. Yeah, some of it was entertaining. My favorite Ahsoka one was when she was a baby, but everybody else seems to think that that was the worst one of the Ahsoka tales. So
I thought it was good. Yeah. I'm looking here. I actually put all of our grades together and averaged them out to see we across the board. Andor with the ups, downs, everything was a B. Book of Boba Fett was a B minus. Kenobi was a C plus. Tales of the Jedi was a B plus. So that was averaging all of our scores together there. Yes, I was doing math while we were talking, but so
I would just
overall,
like to say, I want Andor season 2 to be an A for me.
well, good. I like the positivity.
I really wanted to like that series. I just didn't.
now, do I think it's as good as what the social media and what the 20-somethings are trying to tell me that it is?
Nah,
Yeah, no, I don't think it's as good as that, but I do think it's an A series for what I enjoy. But I don't think it's like the end all be all Star Wars. No, but it's good Star Wars to me.
well, I
So-
mean, if you look at
I
it,
think I
Brent,
made the point that it is really good. At
Yeah,
almost
no, you
everything.
have. Yeah, you have, and I get that. I just wanted that's why my A is there. It's a good show, and it was enough Star Wars for me. But I know that there are people that are looking for other things that it didn't have.
guys,
Yeah.
we had a good wide array. We had people going from all the way from A's to D's. I mean, but here we are all talking about it, right? And no hatred, no, we all gave our opinions.
Little bit of hatred.
Wow. So looking before we kick into Bad Batches which is what is next. That was tough. Bad Batch season 2's going to be our talking point here in a minute, but let's just do a quick thumbs up, thumbs down. We're excited. We're not excited for this. Mando season 3 starts on March 1st. Thumbs up? Yes. Thumbs up. We're
I wish
good on
I had
that.
4 thumbs.
Okay, that is good. That's thumbs up. Visions season 2 coming out next summer or next. I'm
up on it.
So DDoc's up. The rest of us are kind of in between.
If they have a Tatooine Rhapsody 2, I'll be fine because I actually like that one. Everyone
was
hated
fun.
that one, but
That
I
was
like
fun.
that one. I'm cool
was
with
fun.
it. If they try to lead into that, the one with the
Rabbits?
Sith. No, the rabbits. I like the rabbits too.
Okay.
Lop and Ocho was cool. It was the one that everybody loved. That was like
The Ninth Jedi?
something like that, where they all had these lightsabers, and she took it up, and she thought they were good, and they all turned out to be Sith.
Oh yeah,
If they lean into that one,
I kind of like that one. Yeah. Anyway,
My daughter loves that one just from TikTok.
Mm.
Because that phrase, the lightsaber blade is red, is in one of the Star Wars TikToks.
okay.
Watches it 1,000 times a day.
Young Jedi Adventures. I don't think. I mean, I guess for Azalea, DDoc, for the Doc kids, Young Jedi Adventures. I'm guessing is going to be fun, good stuff, right?
Isn't there a
Yeah.
Wookiee? Isn't there a Wookiee Jedi in that one?
There's always a Wookiee Jedi.
I know. That's the thing.
I think
Okay.
there
It
is.
looks like
Yes.
there's
right.
production videos from like the Acolyte and or Ahsoka that had a Wookiee Jedi.
Yes. Yes.
Anyways.
That was for
I think it's
that
the
was
Acolyte.
Bad Batch 2 and Acolyte. You're right.
Yeah,
Bad
so
Batch 2.
Bad Batch 2 has like a cub, like a kid.
Yes.
Gunji.
Bad Batch
I'm
2
gonna
sorry.
be, yeah.
I'm gonna be tweeting spoilers to that High Republic Disney Junior Kids show all the time. That's the show I'm gonna tweet
Rocket,
spoilers
baby.
on.
Rocket.
I thought the last junior show they had was pretty good. I mean,
The galaxy of our
no, the one about all the creatures. I'm probably the only one that watched that.
where is Glosson when we need him? He could have
Yeah.
done the whole thing. All
There's
those
been
creatures.
some Star Wars stuff showing up on Disney Junior as far as like every now and then, like commercial wise, some shows don't line up. So they'll put on like a 5-minute clip or something. And there has been some Star Wars stuff on Disney Junior where I've seen it. And I'm like, I haven't seen this over the last 5 years. Like,
Okay.
so that's interesting. Maybe they realize that this extremely expensive IP that's extremely popular that they own, maybe we should use it a little bit, whatever.
Maybe kids were kind of the foundation of this whole thing.
Hey, yeah.
It
You know what?
appealed to them.
Maybe the first shows Frankie watches will be the Young Jedi Adventures. There we go. It could be his entry point to Star Wars.
Yeah, you just reminded me of a point, and I don't want to sidetrack us too long on this. I'll be keeping.
Oh, we
very
get
short.
sidetracked.
I saw a very old commercial for the Kenner Star Wars toys the other day, and I actually had two young guys who were celebrity names. I can't think
Christian
of who it
Slater.
was. Yes, it was the Christian Slater commercial, and it was them, playing with the toys and stuff like that. And I'm just like, why is Star Wars not marketed like that anymore? Because
But
I don't
those
know.
toys had no clear plastic on them. They just had box art.
It was
The
kids
figures had
playing
plastic.
with
They had
toys.
clear
though.
plastic.
What for? Like the little toy, the little
They-
3 3/4 like
they
window
were in
on the
bubbles.
corner.
No, they were bubbles. They were in bubbles.
If you look at the TIE fighter, the TIE fighter has no plastic on it.
We're
If you
talking
look
about
at like the
figures.
Falcon, if you talk about the Falcon, it has no plastic on it. If you talk about the barge, the sail barge, no plastic on it.
All the figures had plastic on them, even the 12-inch.
I just think that commercials should be made like that still because it gets kids into it.
Yeah.
It makes no
I
sense
agree.
to me
I agree.
if you're going to have these Marvel displays for every movie. Why are you not marketing Star Wars to children? Why is there not a well-stocked Star Wars line? Why aren't there commercials on Disney? You freaking own the name. Advertise it.
Yeah, that's why I think
have-
this might be a step in the right direction with this Disney Junior show. Like, that's going to be introducing kids to Star Wars at a young age. It's fun that Yoda's going to be involved in that show too. So it'll be interesting. It'll be fun. Hopefully, Addison, when she gets up to age,
There you go.
she'll be my unless David and Harper get into it. We'll see, but.
See, we're doing entry points for all these kids. Skeleton Crew. Thumbs up, thumbs down, interested, not interested. I'm all in on that one. Looks interesting. I'm okay. And that was a surprise one for us, right? I mean, we didn't know about Skeleton Crew till much later. And
Right, so real quick on the design, I went back and looked at the Investor Day picture, and there was a title that was up there. And if you look at it, 85% of those things have made it and have been released. One of them was like Wraith and Bone or something like that. There was I can't remember the exact name of it, but there was a title that was there that may have been like the placeholder title that turned into the Skeleton Crew. That's what I was thinking, because it was pre-production, they thought it was going to be titled this, but then they came up with a new title. But if you look at it, like the only thing that hasn't made it is that Droids cartoon that they talked about, and then the Lando show. But pretty much everything else that they showed in that 2020s
Rangers
has made it. Well, okay,
Republic.
sorry, Rangers is the other one, but that we all know what happened with that one. But
I hear it's on the comeback.
I think Skeleton Crew is going to be a low key banger, if you ask me. Actually, if I were Lucasfilm, like with advertising for this, I would keep it as mysterious as possible, honestly. I would show the least amount possible because I think you should keep it a mystery because people are just like Skeleton Crew. Like, what is that? You know what I mean? It's like, we know what we're getting with Ahsoka. We know what we're getting with Mandalorian, stuff like that. Well, not like that we necessarily know, but we know the base of it. With Skeleton Crew, it's like, what is this going to be? I mean, they have Jude Law in it, you know. Would you consider him an A-list actor, you know? Is he A-list or B-list?
He's been in Marvel movies. He's been
Brett
in
does not agree with A-list.
I mean, what's the movie that everybody loves at Christmas
if you were
time?
if you were in 2002, if you were in 2005, I might call him an A-lister. But name a movie that he's been in since what AI was what he was in. Like okay, so what was that? 2000, 2001?
I feel like I watched
Like-
some with him recently.
I don't know. What's the one with Jack Black and Cameron Diaz and Kate Winslet and him?
Oh, The Holiday.
Love
You're
Actually?
going back
Holiday.
to
Are you
No, it's
guys
the
seriously talking about these movies? You're not even going to mention Enemy at the Gates, which was his
Yes.
most badass movie ever.
I haven't seen
Okay,
that.
so Enemy at the Gates was what?
That's an
98?
awesome movie.
It doesn't matter. It's like The Godfather. That role lives forever.
It
But
does
it's
actually.
90, but it's 98. So again, I'm going back to if you go back in time, you could call him an A-lister.
Okay.
Just don't know if he falls on the A-list anymore.
Highly experienced, I'll say. Highly
There you go.
experienced actor.
Okay.
I'm not saying he's bad. I'm just not calling him an A-list.
Last but not least, before we go into Bad Batch 2, I'm assuming we're all thumbs up on the Ahsoka series because Brent, even though it's Ahsoka, it's post Return of the Jedi. So it's in a different era. It's
Gonna
not
have
Clone Wars.
Sabine.
Gonna
So
have
here's the deal.
Sabine and
Here's
Hera.
the deal. Here's the deal. A
Lay it
lot
on
of
me.
that stuff I'm all about. The one thing I hate about
World
the Rebels,
Between Worlds.
and I'm fearful, I am dreading the fact that they might throw that in, and that is
It's there. 100%.
That is why
You want to know what
hold back.
happens?
Yeah, sure, give it to me.
Can we do that in the next episode?
We're not even
everyone-
going to have time to talk about Bad
If
Batch.
anybody's listened to us, they know how much I can rant against it. So I am a thumbs up at this. I'm like more of I'm calling it like a 3/4 up because
There will be
am
no
so
time travel.
I'm terrified that the world between worlds will be there, and not just that it'll be there. That when it shows up, the fan base will be like, "Well, why don't they use it to redo everything?"
She's bringing back Ben Skywalker or Ben
And-
Solo.
And Kane and Jarrus.
And like, no.
Ben Solo, 100% confirmed.
Oh man. And then he'll
That's what
reunite
I'm-
with
that's what
Ray
I'm-
and say, "Remember when we
that-
kissed?" And yeah,
That's what I'm terrified of. Anyways, that's
Checks will
why I
write
have to-
themselves.
yeah.
That's why I have. You're right, and there's a lot of people that want to see it. I know I'm probably in the.
Do you know how
minority of it.
many that scenario I've read already about this
Mhm.
show?
You know what?
Oh, that's exactly what's going to happen.
You know what they're going to do? They're going to bring him back to the age he was in Rise of Skywalker to right after Return of the Jedi, instead of being a little kid anymore. And so he's going to be a grown up, and he's going to grow up, re-meet Rey. We're finally going to get the Ben Solo figure and a Rey figure with a yellow lightsaber. There we go.
with
could
the
dig it.
plastic, so you can see through in the
No,
plastic.
no plastic. No plastic.
Okay.
No. So
It'll be one of those weird double box things where it
Yes.
slides open. They're
yes,
like $200.
just for the sliding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you knew where you were going that with it. You knew I was going to go there with the
Oh,
Ahsoka.
100%.
Like, yes, I'm excited because it's Star Wars. Yes, it's going to have people in there. It's going to have Rosario Dawson, and Ashley Eckstein was on set. No, she said she wasn't in the cameo, but she was there talking to Rosario and trying to make sure Rosario understood the gravity of the character and the way that Ashley has been received as far as the people who are part of Team Ahsoka. Like, I thought it was cool. I was listening to Rebel Force Radio, and the way she was talking about it, she called it Team Tano, and that like there's a lot of people that are on Team Tano, and you have to understand what it means to be a part of Team Tano because it took 15 years to develop into who she is and what she actually has meant to a lot of the fans. Yeah, that one I actually had somebody paint up for you.
yes, it's gorgeous.
I did not paint that one. I was too worried.
Okay. Well, we've hit all bases, and we'll get World Between Worlds next episode. Bad Batch season 2 started. We got 2 episodes. Episode 1, Spoils of War. Episode 2, Ruins of War. We're going to get 16 episodes in this series, and on March 1st, we will be at episode 11 of the 16, while episode 1 of Mandalorian season 3 comes out. So that will be a huge day. March 1st will be a huge day out of the Star Wars world. So I will tell you this. We talked about Andor. I wanted to talk about this because we talked about Andor and the way we looked at Andor. I already showed you that I gave Tales of the Jedi an A because I love Star Wars animation. I don't know. I'm not even going to grade this stuff. I'm going to say is I really like this. I like the action. I like the activity. I liked it being, I'm okay with being 51 and liking kid stuff, kid jokes, fun, yelling, carousing, good guys, bad guys, action, big, huge crabs. I don't know where that came from. But I liked all of that stuff. I like Star Wars animation. It's one of the things that I can jump into and feel like it's the least pulling the fan base apart. You can go into Star Wars animation, everyone realizes it's animation, and they go, oh, maybe take the edge off a little bit, right? We don't have to be as hardcore thinking about every episode as we do with the live action. So just as a quick overall, statement on it, there was a lot of it that I liked. It wasn't perfect, but man, I thought it looked good. It was fun. It was adventurous. And I think when you get 16 episodes of this, and it's especially seeing what can happen on the other side, which we haven't seen yet with Rampart, with Crosshair, with the Emperor showing up and all that in these episodes. I think we've got some good things in front of us. And that's my spiel on it. Who wants to jump in first and give some thoughts on it? Alfie, Brent, or DDoc? Raise your hand, take off.
Go, Alfie. I want to hear Alfie
won.
first.
Okay, these 2 episodes, I'll try to be brief here. Completely forgettable, honestly, outside of Dooku and his home planet and all that stuff. The few things with Echo, I really can't remember much that happened except for the end, and then finally get to say Gunsmoked again. That's so great. Starting 2023 off with saying Gunsmoked.
That's why I let you go first. That's why I let you go first.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Like I said, it was forgettable, but it was fun. I really enjoyed it because, like you said, you kind of get to shut your mind off a little bit and just enjoy it and have fun. I think it was a nice little transition. This will be a good transitional show between Andor and Mando 3. So I think it served its purpose.
Yeah. Okay. DDoc.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it is about Bad Batch, but I love this crew for some reason. I enjoyed the first season. It was the first animated show that I watched as it was coming out because I didn't watch Clone Wars yet when they released the new season on Disney Plus. So I just love the crew. I mean, I was freaking nervous that something was going to happen to Tech in these first 2 episodes. Like, I'm like, is someone going to, is Filoni going to kill one of the Bad Batch off in one of the first 2 episodes of this? Like, I don't know. I was getting a little nervous because, yeah, I have one gripe that I'll bring up later that really bothers.
Now, if you go,
yeah. Stop using the freaking stun guns, for
Yes.
God's sake.
Yes,
Stop.
that is a gripe. Yes.
Like, it drives me crazy. These guys are trying to kill you. All you're doing is knocking them out to wake up later and try to kill you again. Like, you're as Echo's been saying this, like, Echo's kind of the guy in this right now saying, like, shit's getting real, basically. Like, we need to, take this seriously. Like, our roles have changed now. Like, we're not just messing around as our, little, like, Clone Force. Like, we're playing a different role in the galaxy now is the way I'm looking at it. And I like that vibe of it. Stop using stun guns. I mean, Wrecker did start blowing people up in it, like, which got me hyped, like in episode 2 when they were, trying to take over the tanks and everything. Wrecker said, I make a pretty good tank myself. Wrecker's my favorite. So yeah, I love this show, and you know what? This is the first show that my little guy is old enough where me and him are going to be watching this together because it's something that like me and him
Perfect.
watched the 2 episodes, like, and he's into it. So I have like a little soft spot for it because of that. But yeah, the animation's amazing on it. I love the step up of the animation that I've seen in it. So I'm hyped on it. I'm a big fan.
Good. Brent?
I don't care that they're using the stun guns. That doesn't bother me at all.
It bothers me. Just
It
kill
doesn't
them.
bother. You don't need to kill. You don't need Jedi. You don't need to kill.
They're programmed though one way. That's what bothers me. Is
But
it's like I know it's your brothers. Like I get it. Like, you know, we've seen that storyline. Like, you know, it's hard for them to do that. But these guys know this at this point. It's like you are surrounded by guys that are going to try to kill you no matter what. They're going to wake
Right.
up and they're going to go try to kill you.
it's Star Wars. They're gonna kill him and they'll bring him back because no one dies in Star Wars. So why not
That's
just
true.
stun them? So
No
why
one's
not
ever
just
really
stun them?
gone.
No one's ever really gone. Somehow they return. Like it doesn't matter.
And
It's
actually,
stun-
I hate to be this guy and bring this up, but you know, if you go and read into it, most of the stormtroopers that you see get shot don't die.
I agree. Like that's why I don't think it.
They're-
I never really
They
felt
get
like
knocked
they
out
died.
because their armor dissipates the energy from the blast.
Interesting. There you go. So just
Okay.
use lasers. I'd rather hear the sound of the laser shooting rather than like
The- yeah.
I actually,
You know, like-
that's why I have no problem with it. I actually like the sound of the stun ray.
it is like
So-
it's fun. It's fun to a point. I don't want them to use it all the time. Like that's
Yeah.
all. That's my only little gripe. I mean I love it, but that's
I
my
had that
only small
gripe too, especially since he didn't hesitate to take out the dropship.
Is that the one? The
Yeah.
one that he shot the lat that he shot with
Yeah.
the tank when he said I make a pretty good tank.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean they don't get me wrong. There was some ships that went down in this episode. You know, they took down the Republic gunship that almost actually took out Echo and
Yeah.
Omega
Yeah.
going up that wall. They probably caught some shrapnel.
I had some thoughts on some different things that I saw there. Obviously, we've had a year and a half since the last Bad Batch episode. And that was the one on Camino, right? So they finished there, and then we went to Tantus, Mount Tantus. So I'm going to assume, and maybe I'm wrong, but they didn't tell you how long it's been. Can we assume that it's also been a year and a half in their life since they've been there? Because Omega's taller, she has longer hair, she's in a different outfit. The clones all have new looking gear, armor painted different ways, doing different things. So maybe it's less than that, maybe it's 6 months. I don't know. But it's been a certain amount of time since season 1. Any thoughts on that real quick? No? Yes?
Yeah, I'm with you that some time has passed, but I just, since you mentioned the armor, I brought it up in the chat when the trailer came out, and I was just curious if anybody caught the significance of their armor.
No, but I'd love to hear it.
If you notice, they now have orange stripes.
There's orange, but they also have like a blue edging too.
Right. And in Mandalorian, orange means freedom and blue means reliability.
Wow.
Sweet.
Deep. Going
So you're
deep.
saying that they're they're getting Mando colors?
Well, they were
Based off of Mandalorian.
based off of Mandalorian.
That's true, duh.
Daggone. Alfie's bringing the
And so
heat.
I'll go ahead and bring it all the way full circle because I mentioned to look at Cody's armor too in the trailer. He's now wearing gray, which is mourning the lost family member.
Huh.
Interesting.
They were all wearing gray in the first season.
Well, his striping is gray. His accents are gray, is what I mean.
Gotcha.
Okay. Man.
So the Bad Batch has switched to orange and blue, and he switched to gray.
The book of Alfie is back, my friends. The book of Alfie. We're getting deep knowledge here, all about the Bad Batch. I don't even think we got this much knowledge on Andor.
Poor Cody.
I'm looking forward to Cody. I'm looking forward to Rex, Cody. I want to see that brought into the story. some things that I had thoughts about. Tarkin, as we know, knows about the Bad Batch, met with them, had them tested, trained, all that kind of stuff. But his thoughts are that they were dead on Camino. Rampart, who gunsmoked Wilco, also said, your report says Bad Batch. They're dead. That's where we're going to leave it because it would look bad on him because he's the one who probably told Tarkin that, correct?
Right.
But there is one other person that knows they're alive, Mr. Crosshair,
Right.
who has not told anybody that I know of. Any thoughts on those three topics right there?
That's a great wrinkle because I hadn't even thought about the fact that Crosshair knew, because honestly, I was lost in this story that I'm just like, by the end of it, I'm like, oh, holy crap, Crosshair is still out there. And yeah, I didn't even think about that during that last scene of episode 2, which was, yeah, I'm complaining about the stun rays. That was pretty rough, actually. You know, my son was like, what just happened? I was like, he got gunsmoked. I mean, there's no other way to say it.
He got gunsmoked.
Yeah. Gonna have a 5-year-old saying gunsmoked.
I would imagine Crosshair had to fill out some type of report. Did he actually say they were dead, or did he say he thinks they're dead, or, you know, he couldn't find their bodies? I don't know. I think that's a good plot point that's probably going to be followed up.
Okay. Brent, any thoughts on Tarkin, Rampart, or Crosshair being involved with knowing they're alive or dead?
I just like the fact that they show how ruthless the Empire is, and that Rampart was afraid for his life because he realized that if he lied or didn't, or if it was seen that he didn't follow through on his job, he wouldn't be trusted. He would lose his position and his power. So therefore, he felt the need to make sure to silence the clone, who the clone is still a clone, and good soldiers follow orders, but he's not going to change and alter the report because that's not what happened. He saw what happened. So, I mean, that whole interaction I liked. I didn't think about the fact that Crosshair was out there still and where he could possibly be.
Which, you know, this point also goes into the Empire's desire not to use clones because they can't be manipulated. They're always going to follow orders, and like he said, I'm not falsifying a report.
Which is why they're slowly trying to transition them out.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll see the full transition of them pretty much completely out in this season of the show? Like, that was a thought that crossed my mind because, like, you know, we still have operations being fully ran by clones, like the one that was going on Dooku's planet. Like, do you think we'll see them be like, this just isn't going to work anymore because stuff's getting a little too dirty with what the Empire is doing? Maybe like
this part of the timeline always gets me, and Brent's talked about it because between Kenobi, between Andor, between Bad Batch, all those different time frames, when does it actually phase out? I'm sure Alfie or Adam Bray wrote a book about the clone troopers and stormtroopers. I'm sure there is some dates and times in there where it happens, but I don't know exactly.
Yeah, it'd be a hard one to really nail down a time or date because the clones are so spread out across the galaxy from the Clone Wars. So is there a point where they all get, you know, every clone across the galaxy gets called back to Camino or Coruscant or somewhere?
They're not going to
logistics
Camino.
of that. Yeah, not anymore.
No.
You know, we saw them getting shipped off of Camino, but that was only the ones that were there. We saw clones at Mount Tannis.
And yep.
And, you know, there's clones on all of these planets where they've been fighting. You would think logistically it would be really difficult to replace them all quickly.
You're right.
Yep.
That's why I've always wondered with the clones, was there like an Order 66 moment where they were just like, we can't like work with the clones anymore. We need to just fully go with stormtroopers. Like as you're saying, how he wasn't, he wouldn't lie on his report. It's like, I just wonder if it gets to a point where they're just like, we need to change the way things are. And if like, I don't know.
You'd think there'd be some, if you're going to kill them all, there'd be some difficulty in their programming. When
That's true.
you have to kill them all like at the same exact time.
It'd be nice if they were like the droids and you could just throw a master switch and they all
Ooh, what if there is?
chop.
I thought that's
Oh,
what
geez.
that's what the chips were. That's what 66 was.
Yeah, but then
This will be Order 69. What?
Yeah,
No, that's a different one.
Oh, okay.
But see, that's all been retconned. That there were they
Yes.
actually had like 100 orders on that chip,
Right.
and it's been retconned that Order 66 basically only lasted that day, and then it shut off,
Huh.
or something to that extent. Not that it didn't continue on
Okay.
as it did in the EU.
We'll figure that out, I'm guessing, over these next 14 episodes. I was looking, we saw Rhea Perlman back as Sid. We met a new character, Fee Genoa, which is Wanda Sykes. And I guess my question is, one runs a bar and does some nefarious things, the other one's a pirate who does some nefarious things. Are we going to weed out Sid, or is the Empire going to show up and take her out, which then leaves Wanda Sykes' Fee character as the new go-to for the Bad Batch to go through? I don't know. Any thoughts on those two characters right there at all? Alfie?
I think the new character is just a means to not have to repeat season 1, where it's go on a mission, come back to the bar. Go on a mission, come back to the bar.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, there's no doubt, like, you get Wanda Sykes, she's definitely going to be a part of it, because I knew it was her right when I heard her. So I right away I went to IMDb. I'm like, that's Wanda Sykes. That's got to be. So yeah, I think we'll definitely see her playing a role, and maybe the Bad Batch is going to be pirates now. Their armor kind of fits it.
I hope they meet Hondo. Any mention of pirates, and I want him to meet Hondo.
We also met one more character in the second episode, Romar Abdel, I believe is what it was. Romar Abdel, which was voiced by Hector Elizondo, which, if you've seen The Princess Diaries, if you've seen Pretty Woman, if you've seen Runaway Bride, The Last Man Standing TV show, Hector Elizondo is in all that stuff. I like that guy. He's a funny guy. So to think that they got him to play this role in here was kind of interesting. He never really said what he was there on Sorrento, right? Just a regular citizen that had to deal with all the backlash after Dooku, or did we get anything more on that?
I mean, he looked just like Dooku, so I think there was some heavy implications there.
What implications are you getting at?
That you were just supposed to associate him with Dooku.
Okay.
So he's part of the royalty of Sorrento?
Yeah, that's what I got.
Okay.
That he just survived and went out into the woods? He said that there's other survivors, but they never really tapped into that either. They may do that in the next episode.
Well, since they left Sorrento, right? I mean,
did they? I thought they
know.
stayed. Like right when it ended, Tech was still hobbling. I think I just watched it just a minute ago, and that's where they ended it.
Okay.
It really bothered me that they didn't go back for the chest in the woods.
Yeah.
It seemed like they put a lot of importance on that chest. It's like the shaving cream can in Jurassic Park, with the shot of it being covered. You never went back to that stupid shaving can in 6 movies.
It's a good point, Alfie. Those guys did know where that chest was.
I wanted them to leave with some loot. I'll admit that. Like, I know Omega kept going back.
I was going to say, so did Omega. Omega wanted to leave with some loot, too.
What I was thinking the whole episode is I was like, they're going to use the little fish hooks that they were fishing for the crabs with, and they're going to just scoop up one of those containers on their way out. Like, those were my thoughts. I'm like, they're still going to get it. I was like, they were just going to get a chest, and they're going to get out of there with a full container. And I was wrong.
Did they leave? I didn't notice them leave.
I mean,
I
they
thought they were
hopped
still
in
in
the ship,
the woods.
right?
I thought they were still in the
There
woods.
you go. If, you know what?
I gotta double check that again. I thought I just
Yeah.
watched it and they stayed in the woods, but
I had a rough day at work. I don't remember the end of it. Sorry.
Well, the last thing I remember is they were on that ledge, right? And the
Yeah.
oh my god, what's the name of their ship?
Hector Elizondo.
The
The
Marauder.
Marauder.
Oh,
Wasn't the
ship.
Marauder on the edge, and didn't they say goodbye to Hector Elizondo or whatever?
Whatever his name is.
Romar.
And bail out?
Yes,
And,
because he said it's a toy. Remember? Take this. It's
yeah,
a toy.
he gave her the
Be a
like the
kid.
kaleidoscope.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
and she was playing with it in the Marauder. Okay.
which I need to rewatch it because my son goes, Tech ran back into the ship. His leg must be better. And I'm like, I need to watch back on that to see if he actually full speed ran back into the
Wow.
ship off of the broken
Okay.
femur. We got a broken femur, in these episodes.
These guys heal up quick. So real quick, going back to the Omega and why she wanted the war chest, and I won't keep us much longer. It reminded me as soon as I saw her not hearing everything of the story, immediately I thought, well, we're getting a Three's Company episode here where Jack and Chrissy heard Mr. Roper say something the wrong way, and then spent the whole rest of the episode trying to fix that problem. She felt like it was all on her, that they were the Bad Batch and stuck in this situation all because of her, but they actually want to be in this situation to take care of her and to live this way, maybe not as poor as they are, whatever, but they don't want to be back to where they were. They don't want to be back to be a part of the Empire. So it was good that they talked that all through, but it just popped into my head. I was like, is this Three's Company? Are we watching Jack and Chrissy here? Is this anyway? So
Okay, so I thought Goonies. So here's where I think Goonies. I feel like, yes, that she had the kaleidoscope in her pocket. I feel like she put some jewels in the kaleidoscope and then she'll actually have some jewels.
Oh, I love that.
Like
she
I went,
said, are these all jewels?
Goonies. No impediment, no impediment. Right? Because
Yes.
if you guys remember at the end
Yes.
of Goonies, he pulls out the
No
impediment,
no
no
pin,
impediment.
no
Pulls
no
out
right,
the
no
bag of
sign.
jewels.
Yes.
So there's a part of me that thinks that like jewels fell into the kaleidoscope.
Love it, Brent. Nice
I
little
like
hidden
that.
thing. Yeah.
I doubt it's correct. Let's not kid ourselves, but there is a part of me because they do make a point of having her look at it. Now that I remember, I didn't think they left the planet, but they do make a point of her looking at it as she's leaving. So, I mean, there could be a number of reasons for that, but my brain went to the Goonies.
Okay. See how this takes us in all different directions? This is great. Go ahead, Alfie.
They're going, but you said Three's Company. They work out of a bar. Is it the Regal
Cheers?
Beagles?
Is it Cheers? It's Cheers.
Well, we already talked
though.
about in the first season, Rhea Perlman was running the Cheers of Star Wars. You had a Norman and a Cliff who were in every episode, always
Yeah,
playing.
They
the
were
game.
in this.
Yes. So there we go. We got Cheers, Three's Company, the Goonies, all wrapped up into one episode of The Bad Batch. We've gone a long time. Go ahead, Alfie. I was going to go around and ask people any last comments or anything. So, Alfie, you were raising your hand. You can
I
start
was
us off.
taking a drink.
Oh,
But
oh, okay.
anyway,
Take
I'll
another.
go. I think it was a good start. We wanted to get back to the mountain. We went Cody. We went Crosshairs. We went some Imperial, destruction going on. But I think that's all coming. We just have to be a little patient, have a little fun before that.
Okay. DDoc or Brent next?
I'll go. Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. I for some reason, I don't know why, the Bad Batch just hold a special place in my heart when it comes to Star Wars. It's just that random animated thing. Everybody, who's into the animated shows has their thing they're into. I really like the Bad Batch, and I'm excited. I would love to see Omega get like some mini armor to go along with the guys rather than the helmet. I would love to see her get a helmet because she's not just like, the little kid anymore. I mean, she's out there firing arrows now, which I
maybe
think
some
angsty
armor
preteen.
like her brother.
Oh.
Her brother. Does she even know that that's her brother?
Not yet. Luke didn't know that Leia was his sister.
Touche.
yeah.
But she knows that the Bad Brats are her brothers.
Yes.
Which makes any other clones her brother.
I know. Look, I get it. I'm just saying, does she know? I don't like she.
Not yet.
I think she.
I don't think Yeah.
My other thing is her hat made me think of a Scout Trooper helmet. The way that the bill was folded made it look
Yep.
like the Scout Trooper helmet. That was all I could think of when I saw the pictures of her wearing the hat.
Okay.
Yeah. And there was also an Indiana Jones reference that I've seen people saying, and I don't know what it was. Do any of you guys know? It was in one of the containers, apparently. I forget what someone said but there was like an Indiana Jones Easter egg in this episode. I forget.
I heard somebody else saying it was like Indiana Jones in the Last Crusade, where she was wanting to reach down over the ledge and get something out of the container, and like how the doctor how he had to get her away from the ledge of the Holy Grail at the
Okay.
end. So
Yes.
that's what I had heard, but I mean I didn't see any.
That makes
Indiana
sense.
Jones.
That totally that makes sense. So maybe that was it. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I'm pumped to see what we got coming for us.
Good. All right. Well, 186 episodes. We are in the books. We're kicking off 2023 with a bang right here. 186 episode of Rule the Galaxy. We're still gun smoking people, and I think we gave some good grades to 2022 and 2023 stuff. Thank you to all of our listeners, all of our followers. We wouldn't be doing this if you guys weren't listening and commenting and giving us the feedback. We will talk to some of our regular special co-hosts who've come on in the past, get them back on for some future shows, hear what their thoughts were, recapping things, previewing things like that. So just love to have the crew back together here. It's always fun to be with you guys and talking Star Wars and plenty of other topics. Until next time, follow us, Rule the Galaxy SW, Instagram, Twitter, Rule the Galaxy Facebook and YouTube, Rule the Galaxy SW at gmail.com, Rule the Galaxy Podcast on TikTok, and Rule the Galaxy, type that in, all one word, Etsy.com. Go buy some gear. Miss Laura Burton will take care of you. And until next week, may the Force be with you.